Good evening, folks. I am Max Porter, and I am but a humble dungeon master, creating cool stuff that I think my players might enjoy. We had what I consider to be possibly at least a contender for one of the best sessions. The best sessions with no combat in our game thus far, the Wildlands D&D game thus far. And it proved highly successful in terms of using the little dialogue lines that I had prepared for myself. Now, that was all well and good, and it all took place in this town of Arkney, where the players have been hanging out. And I've got a lot of information for Arkney, including that whole thing. I've also got personal kind of storylines for each of the players to activate their seals of power, which are special, unique abilities that I'm offering to each player, which they can activate by spending some downtime, etc. But as cool and fun as all that is, I feel the need to prepare for when the players eventually leave Arkney. Also, although this has no bearing on the players' personal kind of storyline events, I am a little starting to feel like any more preparation, any more like pre-prepared details that I do specifically for this town will basically go to waste, because I'll start to be over-prepared. And nothing kills creativity for a game master, I believe, faster than over-preparing. Well, actually, no, that's not fast, because preparing takes time, but it is as sure a death of a campaign as you can have. Because once you start over-preparing, you start strangling the conversation, like a nervous boyfriend practicing his lines. You start thinking too much about the conversation that is playing an RPG. So all that aside, I have come to the conclusion that I should prepare for the players to, at some point, leave Arkney. This is a HEXCRAWLER, after all. And part of the goal of a HEXCRAWLER is to get the players exploring. So, when that eventually happens, I have a pretty cool system for how I handle exploration, partially inspired by something Matt Colville suggested on his channel. He gives Dungeon Master advice. But basically, in simple terms, it's a skill challenge where you need to get 3 successes before you get 3 failures, and you can use any number of different skills to help the party in their travels. Now, if they fail 3 times before they succeed 3 times, the DC is adjusted based on the region, the difficulty of the terrain that they are traversing. If they get 3 failures, then we have a random encounter. If they get 3 successes without any failures, I have been working on a table of positive encounters previously on the stream, which I got a lot of helpful suggestions from viewers for, and that's been pretty fun. These tended to be kind of long, because actually making like a positive road encounter turned out to be potentially several sentences. And that was all well and good. And I guess I got up to 57. But I think that is a lot, because they're not going to come up that often. Now, what I do not have is a dangerous random encounter table that's all my own. Now, I was using something created by Pie and Dragon on the N-World website, but it has been non-functional for, a few weeks now. And that one was good, but it had a limited number of results. And, it had, it's not my own work, although it gave me lots of good ideas. And one thing that I loved about that generator is that it gave me a lot more inspiration than just, here are some enemies. So if you look in, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, the Monster Manual, other places, etc., you may find different ways of generating random monsters. And there are tons of resources for this online. There's, Kobold Fight Club, there's Goblin something, there's lots of them. Most of them are good in one way or another. There's Kassoon.com's random generator, and there's all different kinds of settings that you can adjust, and there's lots and lots and lots of ways to randomize this. So it almost doesn't, and honestly, it almost doesn't matter to me, because that I've realized it's not really the monsters. It's not really the monsters that make an encounter memorable. I thought it was. I thought it was the monsters. But I've come to realize that the monsters may take the spotlight, but it's the ensemble, it's the terrain, the story behind the monster, the thing the monster is engaged in, or its connection to the larger world, that actually makes an encounter really memorable and interesting. So all of this is to say, I'm making my own random encounter table, but I'm skipping the monster portion. I can always do some, I can always use Kobold Fight Club, or one of the innumerable ones that are available online, all of which are perfectly good. Or I can use the old-fashioned thing I used to do when I first started playing D&D, and I was 15 or whatever, and, flip through the monster manual. Oh, look, a Gorgon. Looks like a metal bull that breathes poison smoke. Challenge rating of 8. That's probably too high, but whatever. I can always adjust it on the fly if I need to, or I can use a generator and take inspiration from that in the book. Or I can flip a few pages over, like say, oh, that's cool. I wonder if there's something else like that. Flip a few pages over. Here's a null. Maybe my party's only challenge, only worthy of taking on a challenge rating 1 monster. This is, of course, the 3.5 monster manual. That's how I used to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And the reason it worked, even back then, when I was a complete novice GM, and had a lot of learning yet to do to figure out how to, to up my game. Although we had lots of fun, I definitely improved over the years. I feel confident in my improvement. It wasn't really the monsters that made it fun, because the monsters are really, they're just in a fun skin pulled over stats. It's everything else that makes an encounter memorable and interesting. So that's what this encounter table, or series of tables, is meant to inspire. All those other things I'll use if the party fails their traveling checks. I will use, you know, Kobold Fight Club or some other random encounter generator to generate the monsters, and then I'll use this table to generate everything else interesting about this random encounter. And again, the emphasis here is on random, because how do you make a random encounter interesting? It's one thing if you have an encounter that is very integral to the story. It's relatively easy to come up with something, even on the spot, if it arises out of the storyline that the players are following or generating themselves. So if it's a minion of your main villain, well, you're going to know what their motivation is. You're going to know they're going to have this interesting link to the players because they're linked to the main villain. They're going to, be part of the theme of the campaign. If they've met them, then it's like the location is probably very likely, part of the narrative, and is likely going to be an interesting factor. And of course, there's lots of things you can do beyond that to make an encounter interesting, using various tactics, using partially tailored encounters mixed with as-is encounters. So many different things you can do. But when you compare that with a random encounter, making a random encounter interesting, when the party is like, all we want to do is get from this town to this town. I should probably be using a different color so you can see it, but it's green on green. That's the way it is. I want to get from this town to this town. So we're just going to travel, and we're just going to go. Now, probably in a different campaign, I would have just said, yeah, so, you travel for a few days, and then you make it. But this is a Hexcrawler, and in this game, I have kind of generated these rules that help me drive home the idea that the wildlands, this wilderness between settlements, is dangerous. And I think keeping that tension alive is really, really important. So I don't want to hand wave it in. I don't want to hand wave it in this game. Maybe in a different campaign, but not in this one. And so I need random encounter. So I roll a random encounter. How do I make that interesting? That is something of a challenge. Because sure, you get a monster, and then in the moment you're scrambling. You've got to sit there and think, and meanwhile the players are waiting. You just rolled some dice. Maybe they rolled some random numbers. Maybe they rolled like really, really high. How do you really low? How do you kind of justify that drama if you are going and then like trying to kind of do your campaign prep for an encounter in the moment? How do you prepare an encounter without preparing? Well, that was a long intro, but this is my solution. So we have several different fields. Ignore terrain and difficulty. Actually, I should just move these elsewhere. Ignore these two columns for the moment. Actually, maybe I'll just delete them. Come to think of it, I don't use them at the moment. I'll leave difficulty, because I might do something with that later. It's blank for now. So I'll generate a monster, using Kobold Fight Club. Let's say. It's pretty darn good, so I'm happy with that. Set sources, include all the books I have, because why not? players. I gotta set my number of players to 8. They're 4th level on average now. And I choose the environment because, again, this is all map-based. So for around Arkany, which is where they are now, it's going to be either hills or mountains or grassland or forest. Let's do hills. Do they not have hills? They have mountain. So, boom. Goblin boss, 2 goblin bosses, an ogre zombie, and a Pegasus. Sure. Why not? Pegasus is a weird and interesting pairing with them. Maybe one of the goblin bosses is riding the Pegasus. It's also kind of weird that there's 2 goblin bosses and no little goblins running around. But see, that's what the difficulty roll is for. Is that I can then add goblin minions based on the difficulty roll without too much trouble. Okay. So, this table is incomplete. I am going to be working on it tonight, but I'm just trying to give a demonstration. So, 2 goblin bosses, an ogre zombie, and a Pegasus. All right, those are my monsters that I'm going to be looking at as they, we'll say, for the sake of argument, traverse these forested hills here. Now, I'm going to roll 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to get up to D100s, but for now it's a D47 because that's how much I filled out so far. Okay. What was it? 4 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to ignore the total and look at each of these numbers. So 25. So these goblin bosses, Ogre Zombie and Pegasus, and I'll check my table here, are, when the party comes upon them, they are currently, these 2 goblin bosses, Pegasus and Ogre Zombie, are currently writing a letter while they are 46. Oh wait, how did I go 47? That if I rolled 47, that's what it would be. But I actually rolled 25. Putting on a play. It seems like a more goblin-y thing to do than writing a letter, really. So they're engaged in some kind of odd play. Perhaps that's why the Pegasus is there. Okay, 46. So they are currently putting on a play while they are chasing a legend. The while they are is kind of their goal. So they're putting on a play, kind of pausing while they're chasing a legend. Chasing a legend. Interesting. Okay, so that's one sentence there. For this odd group engaged in a play, chasing a legend. Interesting. Okay, my third number is 40. One might be a master of pets. Well, that only makes perfect sense. One of these goblin bosses has controlled the Pegasus. And maybe he's got some other little pets, like non-combatant pets. The Pegasus can fight. But, you know, maybe he's also got like a squirrel running around on his head and a toad in his pocket and other kind of weird little fun goblin-y animals. One might be a master of pets. That is perfect. And the twist, 7. They each instantly know what the other is thinking. So there's some kind of strange mind meld going on between these guys. That's interesting. Now, see, this would also be interesting because it would be a really wild connection to one of the players who her background, has to do with her mother being our bard. Her mother was an actor. Her father was a playwright. So that's pretty wild. So again, if we were, if we were traversing this hex, I would then, go into my maps here and be like, okay, I need something either foresty or mountainy. Well, I'm pretty sure I have a forest, so I can just grab the forest and just set it there, and then I'd pop in the map, grab some tokens, and then launch into a description, and I don't have to think about it, because it's not going to be hard for me to narrate an interesting description of an encounter based on that. It would be I just rolled this randomly in front of you all, so it would be something like, as you approach this open area and these forested hills, kind of cresting the rise, you look down into this open glen or meadow, and you hear some strange sounds. And then you see a very strange sight. There are some odd creatures cavorting on a makeshift stage. There's like some fallen wood, like some trunks of trees that have been kind of crossed over each other and laid down with some brush to like create a raised area, and then like some others like holding sheets to like create like a stage backdrop. And there are these, and I'm just going through all of those inspirational pieces in my mind. And for an audience, there are these woodland creatures, right? The pet master of pets. A row of like raccoons and squirrels and badgers, and they're all like kind of looking up, paying rapt attention to 4 creatures of very different sizes, kind of prancing around this makeshift stage, wearing these wild costumes formed of rags. 2 of them are very muscular looking, grinning goblins. One of them is riding a winged horse, with its wings are like folded as it tromps around the stage, but occasionally gives a big flutter and causes this wind to blow through across the stage, kind of whipping the backdrop sheets with it, and kind of raising and lowering the sets is this enormous rotting man, like this very corpulent, ugly, hairy ogre whose flesh is kind of dropping off in pieces. He says every time he lifts another poorly painted backdrop. He's just changing one from a castle backdrop. He lifts that out of the way with his incredible bulk, and then drops in a background showing a meadow not unlike the one that they are now in. How wild would that be? And of course, it could certainly and easily turn to violence as the players come up here. I mean, these goblins are not going to take kindly to any criticism of their work. And they have an ogre zombie and a Pegasus. So they could actually be quite a challenge. And yeah, I mean, I don't even have to think about the tactics of that, because the ogre zombie is going to be all up close and personal. One of the goblins can take to the air and pull a crossbow out of, you know, probably it looks like a prop, like a fake crossbow, but it's actually real. And you can like shoot the players with that, and the other one can set upon them with the woodland creatures, and that, my friends, would be a very memorable random encounter indeed. And so that's all due to this, the way I'm setting up this table. So that's it for my big example. Now, now the difficult part of continuing to fill out the table, because I want 101 or of each of these elements. So that was pretty wild. And the way I'm trying to do this, I don't have a good method worked out for coming up with ideas for each of these columns. Although, fortunately or unfortunately, I have already forgotten what I've already put down mostly. So I won't be, it will definitely not be stifling, because I will have brand new surprise information every time I roll on this table. All right, so so the way that I have right now to give me ideas to fill out the table is I'm just generating some monsters, and I'm like, what would these monsters? What is one thing that I could put in each of these columns based on these random monsters? And then, you know, if I rolled it later and got different mismatched things, it would be a totally wild and different random encounter. Emphasis on random. Alright, a berserker, a fairy dragon. Hey, prepared GM. Hi, I like your encounter example. This is a great example of a random table. Well, thank you so much. If you are a prepared GM, then I imagine you you have your own methods already prepared. But yeah, this is the thing I'm working on right now. Welcome. Thanks for coming by. I'm glad you liked the encounter example. That was, again, just if you set it up like this, it really works for me. It really works to inspire ideas that are unique and interesting. So a berserker, a fairy dragon, and a fire newt warlock of Imix walk into a bar. Interesting. Okay. So what would these guys be engaged in? Berserker, a fire newt warlock of Imix, and a fairy dragon. Well, I immediately would have... Well, okay, the berserker is the highest CR. Maybe he's in charge. Maybe this berserker is bullying the other two. So, I'll just say bullying. So he's currently bullying. Okay, I'm just generating ideas to put on my table for later. Prepare GM says, I don't tend to do a lot of truly random encounters, but I'm always interested in how other DMs handle them. I love watching other DMs prep. I always learn something. Yeah, I mean, before this campaign, I never really did random encounters either. It's just for a HEXCRAWLER, that's like where I've got this kind of, I think, interesting and fun travel mechanic where people can generate random encounters. They're kind of important. And it's proven to really work out well for me. But of course, the encounters get better when I roll them randomly ahead of time, like if I know where the party's going to go. And I just roll them ahead of time just in case, and then do some thought process to kind of improve them. That, I think, improves the... that helps with the combat elements a lot. For story elements, this has proven to be a really good inspirational method. And I'm creating my own method here. So, okay, what are they doing? He's bullying them, okay? I'm just generating more ideas. While they are generating more ideas, Berserker, a Fairy Dragon, and a Fire Newt Warlock of Imix. A Fire Newt Warlock. That's pretty interesting and weird already. A Fire Newt Warlock. With an orange fairy dragon, of course. The Berserker might be a Fire Newt too. Maybe, I love that you're using Kobold Fight Club. I love that site so much. Yeah, Prepare GM. I only started using it today because I just needed something to generate monsters. But to me, what really makes an encounter memorable is not actually the monsters. And I came to this realization rather recently. It's not actually the monsters themselves that make the encounter memorable and unique. It's everything else. It's what are they doing? It's what is their goal? What is the story that is kind of generated from the nature of the monsters? Maybe their overall goal is to maybe press gang a warband. That would be an interesting, while they are an interesting goal. One might be, man, does it get any more interesting than a Fire Newt Warlock of Imix? Yeah, it might. One might be, it's basically acting 101. Well, agreed. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? And how does that affect the terrain? It's basically acting 101 for the monsters. Yeah, exactly. Prepare GM. And again, like, you're totally, it's totally true. Like, if you do all prepared encounters, well, and you have time to think about it, you can come up with all of those answers to all of those questions. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? And how does that affect the terrain? Absolutely. And this is a method of generating answers to that on the fly. Acting 101 for the monsters. I like that too. Maybe that's what I should have called this stream. Acting 101 for the monsters. Oh, wait. What might be an actor? That's not a bad idea. Sure. I've already got famous on here, but I don't think I have an actor. It's kind of odd. I've already got in disguise, but an actor. I don't have an actor. Okay, sure. What's the twist? What's the twist? They are cursed to explode into a gigantic. They warn you. They are. This is important. Cursed to explode into a gigantic fireball if upon death. Sure. See, that's good twist, because then it's like, who cursed them? How do we get rid of the curse? Maybe we can avoid fighting or end the fight if we agree to help you curse. All right, now I've got to inspire some new ideas for this encounter table. Currently, while they are, one might be, and a twist. Okay. So, what have I got here? Berserk, another... Okay, this is very similar. Just a frost giant. What's a frost giant up to? What do frost giants go around and do? Currently, encasing someone in ice, imprisoning, transporting prisoners, that's weird. Maybe that should go in the twists. He's lost or searching for something. Currently they are lost. Thank you. Thank you, prepared GM. Good preparation, sir. Or madam. He's lost or searching for something. I've got a lot of searching for things already on here. As, like, goals. And possibly even currently. So, okay. I like lost, though. Okay, so... Encasing someone in ice. That's too odd for currently. That should be a twist. That should be a twist. Burying someone alive. Sure. I'll think about that. While they are creating preparing a tomb. Thinking like an icy tomb. I'm a she and I'm full of terrible ideas. Well, you came up with Lost, and searching for something is a good idea. I've just already, got it on here. Let's see. While they're preparing a tomb, one might be, well, I've only got one, so that's not going to necessarily be all that inspirational, but maybe one might be related to Lost, an amnesiac, stronger than forgetful, and the twist. What's the twist? What twist can we be inspired by from this? They are... They are encased in ice. That's a weird twist. Maybe instead of encased, they are infused with ice, fire. Should I separate ones? Yeah. Ice, fire, or acid. Or lightning. Ice, fire, acid, or lightning. I'm glad you like that, prepared GM. Okay. Let's keep filling out the table. Gotta get to 100. Gotta get to 100. I might not make it tonight, but I'm gonna try. 8 giant goats. 8 giant goats. What, in the mountain? In the mountains? 8 giant goats. Oh, boy. Okay. 8 giant goats are currently... As you approach, 8 giant goats are currently competing for... Enlarged by a wizard? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a twist. They have been enlarged by a mad wizard. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's good. That's a good one. Who is looking for them, but he's really tiny. Okay. Ooh. Well, I think I already have... I have fleeing, but I don't have being hunted. While they are being hunted down. But he's really tiny. They have been enlarged by a mad, tiny wizard. Sure. I like that. See, the thing is, even if I don't actually make him tiny in the actual story, that's an inspirational idea that definitely deserves a spot on the table. Competing. They're currently competing for. Competing for what? Primacy. Competing for attention. I'll say attention. Cool. Food. I have hunting on here and eating and I mean, you know, having an argument. They could be fighting over food, competing for food, I suppose, but I feel like I've already got several versions of that on here, which you had no way of knowing. Okay, let's come up with more ideas. Fairy Dragon, Violet, a Null Pack Lord, and a Kobold Dragon Shield walk into a bar. Fairy Dragon, a Violet Fairy Dragon, a Null Pack Lord, which is pretty scary beast for CR2, actually, and a Kobold Dragon Shield walk into a bar. Or actually are in the mountains. Okay. I feel like a Null Pack Lord would be in charge of this situation. Or maybe the Fairy Dragon. What are they doing? Maybe they're playing the drums. The Fairy Dragon and the Kobold are prisoners of the Null. I've already got prisoners on here in several different places. One might be a prisoner I think I have somewhere. What are they currently doing? What do the three of these do together? It's pretty wild. I think I have enslaved, maybe? Yeah. One might be a slave. I'm suggesting all of the obvious ones. Yeah, I guess so. But, you know, I've gotten the obvious ones out of the way for the most part. Musicians. I do have playing music. But I don't think I have one might be a musician. Which, why not? A bard. What are they doing? What a weird group. What a weird group. Maybe, maybe the Null Pack Lord is, planning on... Maybe they're kind of convincing the kobolds to come under the control of the gnolls. Maybe they're eating somebody. They're cannibalizing someone. Not really in line with the fairy dragon's attitude necessarily, but maybe it's a crazy fairy dragon. While they are, and I think I have negotiating on here already. Negotiating an alliance. Or negotiating a treaty. One might be a musician, and the twist. I don't know if I have a twist. Hey, everyone's different. Don't lump all fairy dragons together, racist. Exactly. Then maybe this fairy dragon's a cannibal. He's eating another fairy dragon. He's just a stranger at a strange land. And he's hungry. And the twist. They... they can't stop eating everything in sight. It's weird. I had a campaign like where that was a disease that was spreading across the land. Half ogre and an ogre bolt launcher, or 2 of each. Okay, this is gonna be that would be an interesting encounter. Whew. So the half ogres are smaller but smarter. The ogre bolt launchers are bigger and more bestial. And they are currently looking for slaves. Very Brothers Grimm-esque. Yeah, it is, I guess. I had a campaign, we just called it the horror campaign, where it was horror themed, and everybody was a monster race. This was in Pathfinder. Everybody was a monster race. So I think we had an orc, like a half vampire or some crazy thing like that. And some other stranger things, and yeah, the start of the the driving force behind the horror campaign was there was this terrible disease sweeping across the land that caused people to self-cannibalize, auto-cannibalism. That was a fun horror game. While they are... Okay, so these guys are currently looking for slaves. While they are... Okay, so their overall goal is trying to please their terrible, their greedy master. That's their only goal in life. This group of half-ogres and ogre bolt launchers. Now, one might be... One might be carrying a ring of teleportation, so you can escape. One might be a brilliant tactician, because why else would these half-ogres be in charge? Plotting behind the others' backs. Yeah, I have that already, actually. Plotting to betray the others. But you know what? Plotting behind the others' backs. How about plotting to steal from the others? Waiting for the right moment to run away. Maybe one of the half-ogres wants to escape this life. Feeding, trying to please the greedy master, or whatever else I roll. Okay, do I have a twist? Do I have a twist on these guys? Ooh. Yeah. Their weapons are of ancient make and strange power. So they're, you know, that could certainly be an interesting twist with tactical implications as well. Cool. What else we got? 5 giant eagles and a phase spider walk into a bar. Okay. All of those things like to eat people. Like to eat other monsters. So currently, eating the corpse of a gigantic monster. 5 giant eagles and a phase spider. Did you know that some spiders catch birds in their webs? Just saying. That's true. Probably living in Australia. Yeah, there are some big spiders that catch birds in their webs. That's true. Ugh. That's a good idea. 5 giant eagles and a phase spider are currently trapped. Or maybe it's the giant eagles that are trapped, but I'm just coming up with ideas to put on this table. And then, you know, if I rolled that with that combo of monsters, then I would instantly, that would probably be where my mind went. I don't know if phase spiders actually have webs, but, you know, they probably do. A creepy and good idea, or inspiration, prepared GM. Okay, so they're eating or trapped. Eating corpse of a giant monster. While they are, 5 giant eagles and a phase spider walk into a bar, and their overall goal something other than just eating and staying alive. They are teaching their young. Now, one might be eating the rest. That's pretty wild. And the twist. What's the twist gonna be? What's the twist gonna be? 5 giant eagles and a phase spider walk into a bar. And here's the kicker. They are pretending to be in conflict to lure in the party. There you go. Cool. Okay. Let's keep going. More ideas. More fairy dragons. Ay. Okay. Yellow fairy dragon. 5 yellow fairy dragons. Whoa. Okay. 5 yellow fairy dragons and a white walk into a bar. 5 yellow fairy dragons and a white. What if the fairy dragons have bemused some poor person into forgetting everything and becoming like this undead servant of theirs? So they are currently swarming? No. Looking for a new home. While they are swarming and swarming in a confusing manner. One might be do you have pranking? Fairy dragons are very mischievous. That is true. They are. I don't have pranking. Currently playing pranks. Thanks, prepared GM. I do not have that, and that is a good one. That is a good one. One might be... one might be particularly vicious. One might be redeemable. Prepare GM, I may be writing down some of these myself for my not-so-random encounters. Amazing. Excellent. I'm so glad. I hope that, yeah, we can come up with ideas for each other here. And I hope it's helpful. This is fun. And the twist. One of them was created by the others. Null Packlord. 2 Null Packlords and 4 Magma Mephits walk into a bar. Well, obviously, they were granted these Magma Mephits as familiars by a some demon from the realm of Yinogu, the Null God. So, what does that inspire? So, currently, they are communing with their supernatural master. That's my longest currently yet. That's because the word supernatural is so long. There we go. While they are... Okay, so what's their overall goal? While they are... Overall goal... burning down a forest? That's kind of specific. I don't want to make it specific to any terrain because the terrain will be dependent on where the players are traveling the map. So burning something down. Committing arson. I'll leave it like this. One might be an arsonist. And the twist. And the twist is... Some of them are supernatural servants who would change allegiance if they could. Cool. Alright, more ideas. Oh, the Ogre Howdah. I love that monster from Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Goblin boss, 3 goblin bosses, an Ogre Howdah, and a Yuan-Ti pureblood. 2 Yuan-Ti purebloods walk into a bar. Okay. So this is an interesting group because the Ogre Howdah can carry the goblin bosses. And then the Yuan-Ti purebloods can kind of be the tacticians and leaders. You know the Yuan-Ti are spies, maybe in disguise. I have both spying and in disguise. Currently, infiltrating. Infiltrating an enemy stronghold. They're currently infiltrating an enemy stronghold. And their overall goal, while they are bringing down an enemy kingdom. And that gave me another idea, sowing chaos. Sowing. One might be... so I see you using Roll20. Do you use encounter maps for these encounters? Or are you just going theater of the mind or just sowing? Yeah. So this is a random battle map. This is how this particular campaign started on this map. Level 1, they had to run away from a dragon. So this was a Roll20 map that was just given out on Roll20 to, I think, subscribers at one point. And I had all the players, I gave them time. I started the campaign off with, you have time to grab one treasure from the dragon's hoard. What do you grab? And then I described this whole scenario. Which, if you're interested, one of the players actually wrote this up in a kind of a character journal on the Discord, which is in the channel description. But essentially, a villain had slain the Slayer of the Dragon. So a paladin, who was an ally of the players, lay dead, and they no longer had any protection, as this rogue stabbed her in the back and ran off. So they had to run from a mature adult red dragon that was angry about the death of its mate in the very beginning of the campaign. And then I got this town map, this one by Bogey. I have various town maps, so when they get to... So they just got to this town, Arkney. Last session, which was a really good session, and if you're interested, you can go back and watch it, is here. And the players figured that out and traveled there. And so, we did travel across the Hex map. And then when they arrived in Arkney, then I went to this map. Only I went to they arrived at night. So before I went to the map, I switched to the nighttime one. Great way to start a campaign. Props. I'd love to read that. I'll join your server. Yeah, come on by. That's not super populated yet, but you are super welcome. And yeah, just look for the travel for the journal on the Discord there. The nighttime switch was smooth. Yeah. Thank you to Hero339 on DeviantArt. Who made this? Made these. And then I've got various other ones. So this was an encounter map. This was probably the best encounter so far. And this one was a pre-rolled random that I then had a lot of time because they arrived here, but they didn't actually start the encounter until the following session. So I had a lot of time to prepare it, and it was really, really fun. Probably my most successful. It was a combat encounter, very much so, but it was really, really dramatic. Somebody died, but not from the encounter, from a poorly worded wish. Okay. Yeah, what I need to do with that journal is like put it in its own document or something, or link directly to it from the stream description. I haven't figured out how to do it yet. Three goblin bosses riding an ogre howdah, and led by 2 Yuan-Ti purebloods, walk into a bar. And the twist is... They are all being manipulated by a smarter and more vile villain. That one's really obvious, but I don't know, it fits Yun Ti. Sticky It. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can link to a specific like a specific chat channel on the Discord, which is what I would want to do. But there is, it's the journal is all in its own channel on the Discord. So if you go by there, you can't miss it. Just look for the journal. Okay. 2 Orogs and a Pegasus. Whoa. 2 Orogs and a Pegasus walk into a bar. Unusual combo. 2 Orogs and a Pegasus walk into a bar, and Pegasus says, ouch. Currently, they are currently taming a wild beast. While they are, overall goal, while they are what's their overall goal? Securing their faction's hold on power. Because if some Orogs could get Pegasus mounts for the tribe, that would certainly be of great benefit. Now, here's the thing. One might be, you know, I don't think I have this yet. Abysmally stupid. And here's the twist. They are looking to backstab one another at the first opportunity. I've already got something very similar to that already on here. Not a great twist, but it's fine. It kind of has an immediacy that the other ones don't have. Oh boy. 8 orc nurtured one of your truce. Ones? Orc nurtured one of your truces? Orcs nurtured one of your truce. Yeah, I don't know how to pluralize that. It's not a great twist, it's fine. Max Knight Shyamalan. Hi there, the man with no screen name, welcome. Thanks for coming by. Oh boy. Okay, 8 orc nurtured one of your truces. Currently, they are shambling about aimlessly. While they are their overall goal, of course, is to just be at the beck and call of your truce. At the back. Oh boy, excuse me for yawning. Call of the beck and call of their master. Now, one might be diseased. And the twist. 8 orc-nurtured ones of your truce walk into a bar. And the twist is... their master isn't who they say it is. Not bad. Okay, other ideas. Good twist? Thanks, prepared GM. Yes, the orcs walk into a bar and say, ouch. One manticore and 2 Quetzalcoatlus. Quetzal... Why can't I say this? Quetzalcoatlus. Quetzalcoatlus. 1 manticore and 2 Quetzalcoatlus walk into a bar. Currently... Currently, they are nesting. Nurturing their young. While they are dominating the area. Now, one might be Manticore. What about the Manta Mantle and Manta Crust? You're hitting rock bottom if you're resorting to geology puns. That's exactly right. You are striking bedrock, my friend. Now, one might be... Oh boy, excuse me. A spellcaster. A trained fighter. And the twist is... the twist is... they are married to an unusual partner. Actually, they are married to someone the party knows. Married, dating... I don't know who the Manticore is dating, but that would certainly be a memorable random encounter. Fire Newt Warlock of Imix, 3 Fire Newts, 2 Goblin Bosses, and an Orog walk into a bar. They are currently amassing tribute. While they are fearfully trying not to get eaten. Now, one might be unusual partner. So the orc and the manticore? Yeah, exactly. What did you think I meant? You know, the man with no screen name, you should listen as a podcast for you. You should check out Hello from the Magic Tavern. It is chock full of puns and references. Hello from the Magic Tavern, it's called. And it's one of my favorites. And it's a fantasy story. With a bunch of improvisers who, every time they improvise something, they keep it. Okay. These warlocks, the goblin bots, fire newts, goblin bosses, and an orog. Now, one might be... should I say immensely proud? Unreasonably proud. And here's the twist. 3 fire newts, 2 goblin bosses, and an orog walk into a bar. And the twist is... I have a feeling you'd like it a lot, The Man with No Screen Name. You should check it out. It's a podcast. You can listen to it for free. And the twist is... they just met. No, that's not interesting. They just met, and this is crazy. They each carry a piece of a key that will unlock a planar gate. They each know one line of a riddle whose answer is a prayer that will summon an eldritch horror. Let's change the terrain here. Actually, any environment. A Githzerai monk, an orc hand of your truce, and a Shadow Mastiff Alpha walk into a bar. Well, those guys are definitely hunting something down. Maybe they are currently following a clue. While they are tracking down a cursed item, which begs the alternative, tracking down a blessed item. The mimic runs the bar. Well, there is a mimic if you get far enough in the show. And the twist. The twist is part of the terrain parts of the terrain are actually mimics. How awful would it be if the rock you squatted down to hide behind from enemy fire turned around and beat you? 2 Darkling Elders and a Slithering Tracker. Ooh, a Slithering Tracker. Hunting down an escapee. I'm getting close to 100 on the currently column. Slithering Trackers are a nice, creepy ooze. I haven't actually used them very much. What makes them so much fun, Prepared GM? Normally when I use an ooze, it's specifically in a dungeon. And it's more of a hazard of the dungeon than like a monster. Because I often feel like oozes... I have the same problem with oozes, constructs, and swarms. Oozes, constructs, and swarms all are kind of impersonal. Like, they don't really have emotions. You don't get a satisfying hit on them. Because, you know, oozes, like, are bubbly, oozy. And constructs, like, they don't have flesh. You can chip away at them, kind of, I guess. And then swarms, like, it's not very satisfying either. You don't imagine a satisfying hit. So they're not very satisfying. They don't really have emotions. And overall, they just don't feel like enemies so much as they do feel like traps often. Now, there are exceptions to that. Like, you know, constructs make really cool guardians of, say, a temple or something. Or a tomb. Someplace where they can stand there eternally. So constructs are cool for that, and oozes, I think, make really wonderful additions to, like, a trap. So, like, putting an ooze at the bottom of a pit trap, basically using the ooze as, like, a trap itself, or as part of a trap, I think is interesting. And then swarms, yeah. Swarms I really do use like a trap, like... You know, it's that... For me, the impact of a swarm is they're frustrating to fight, but they have that great, like, ah! moment. That moment of, oh no, oh no, 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 as the beetles come crawling out of cracks in the masonry and skitter up your legs and into your mouth, biting and stinging. And then you get that moment, and then if you do that again, like, every single time you do that in the same encounter, it gets more and more tiresome. So really, like, I use them for that initial... Oh, thanks for following, Prepared GM. I just noticed you did that. I use them for that initial, like, shock value. And then after that, I'm like, the swarm... You know, like, I really want the swarm to just die. Let's see what you've been saying. Because they're stalker hunters. Well, I agree that slithering trackers make excellent stalker hunters. And actually, aren't slithering trackers, don't they have like a master? Doesn't someone set them to hunt you down? See, that's cool because they lead back to the master. I like them because they're so animistic. They have clear goals. Food, shelter, reproduction. That's why it's fun. You never get to put a trap in a forest or a cave, so why not use them as a natural trap? Oh, so you're saying put an ooze in, you know, hey, I've got a lake. Put an ooze in the lake, coming out of the lake, and then it's kind of like a natural trap. Like you don't really see it in the water, and then you step in it, and it starts sucking you in. That's a great idea, Prepared GM. I'm using that. I'm going to make a note of that. Use them as natural traps. You never get to put a trap outside of a dungeon. That's a great idea for an ooze. These are my notes for this campaign. I put this in all caps and wrote dummy to myself, and I still forgot. Until one of the players brought it up. Use oozes. Maybe I should put this in my ideas file. Use oozes as... what did you call them? Okay. Traps out in the world. Perhaps hiding in the shallow lake water. ... Coming out at night or stepped in by an unwary party member. Blends with the water. That's a great idea. I'm still down on construct. Well, not down on them, but I still feel like constructs and swarms are most fun with very specific uses. But that's a really good idea for oozes. That's a really good idea for oozes. They work with other creatures as well. Creatures of the forest might know ambush other creatures caught by the natural trap. That's true. That's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. In fact, maybe that's what this scenario is inspiring. These Darkling Elders use the Slithering Tracker to bring down marks. So they are currently hunting for marks. While they are, so the twist is, okay, wait, one might be merely a tool of the others. And while they are, what's their overall goal? I already used Get Rich Quick. Serving, lots of serving masters in different ways. People always ask me why I attack Rogue onto all my characters when I play. This is why I do that, because I will literally look at the GM and say, WTF, what the fuck are you planning? What are you planning? Our overall goal? Make a legendary score. And here's the twist. Twist is I can't spell. And here's the twist. The twist is why are you rolling for trap find on the bar? Because mimics. Yes, very true. AKA Fantasy Decepticons. And the twist is Once they pick you as a target, they will wait forever to get ya. One green slot. A CR8 monster for 8 level 4 players. Hang on a minute. How is that a medium encounter? Certainly in 3.5 that would be extremely deadly. Page 277. How is it in 5th edition? The green slod. Shape changer, small or medium humanoid. Any equipment it's wearing and carrying isn't transformed. The slod's innate casting ability is charisma. Okay, it can cast Fireball once a day and Fear and Invisibility twice a day each. Okay, that's pretty good. So this thing can transform into a person, get up close to you, turn invisible when things go... Well, no, it can save the invisibility. It can open with a Fireball, which would probably knock out half the party. The other half would be fine. It has regeneration. 10 hit points at the start of each turn. Oof. Oof. Its bite attack is 2d6 plus 4. It gets 3 attacks, though. 1 bite, 2 with claws or staff. The staff does 2d6 plus 4 bludgeoning. Alternatively, it uses Hurl Flame. So it has a ranged spell attack that does 3d6. Oof. Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be pretty deadly. I question that being a medium encounter, even for 8 level 4 players. That being said, the CR calculator is wonky when you get to high numbers of players. Yeah, I think we're seeing that. I'm not saying it's wrong. But I think that that's the wonkiness. Because this guy could probably not win. But I think he could take out 1 or 2 party members. Yeah, I think I would class for my party, for this party. I think that would be a deadly encounter. I probably wouldn't throw even a solo green slot. I mean, I'd probably want to back it up just because it'd be more fun. Alright, so a solo green slot walks into a bar. Currently, do I have disguised? Currently, polymorphed. I do have that, but I don't have it under currently. While they are looking for a host to infest, that's going to not apply to things that aren't slots necessarily, but wouldn't that be wild if it was applied to a bunch of orcs and they had, like, you know, like a slot they were working for. Now, one might be selfish? It's not that interesting. Not in a random encounter. Gonna have to head out for the night, says Prepared GM. Thanks for the stream, and I look forward to your campaign. Thanks. Yeah, the continuing campaign will we play on Sunday nights for this game, and I run a different campaign on Saturday night. I hope you're able to come by and hang out. I'd love to see you, Prepared GM. Thank you so much for coming by and following. And all the awesome suggestions, of course. And yeah, you can click the Discord link if you want to read the player journal. It's in the channel description down below. All right. Yeah, I'm getting close to where I'm gonna have to sign off for the night as well. I just want to get to. I'll just do one more. Grung Elite Warrior. I'm not even sure what that is. But I have my Volos somewhere around here. A Grung Elite Warrior, an Ogre, and a Pentadrone. There's that construct. Although it could be interesting as a little servant of these guys. Walk into a bar. Grung. What is a grung? A grung is like a little frogman. Cute and evil, poisonous frogman. That's wild. So these are grungs? What happened to bullywugs? Oh, these are like tree frogs, and bullywugs are like toadmen. Cool. A Grung Elite Warrior. Currently, they are driving a bunch of slaves. While they are, and this is their overall goal, while they are seeking to upend their traditional caste structure. It's a bit philosophical, but I like it. One might be... mechanically, an artificer, a tinkerer. Mechanically minded, a mechanical genius. And the twist is... they have been poisoned, making them fight like madmen, but dooming them to a painful death. So they've got nothing to live for. Alright, well, I am going to turn off the stream now. Thank you so much for coming by, the man with no screen name. Thank you to anyone else who came by and said hello. Thank you to Prepared GM for coming by, hanging out a whole bunch, making a bunch of suggestions, following, etc. I will see you folks another time. Have a good night, and I love you very much. Thank you so much for coming by.